Godzilla is now in New York City.
Monster 01 and 02, commence the attack.
Andrew. What do you get when you cross me with a period of time after 10 o'clock at night?
Cranky.
Aaron in a bad mood. Sorry. But I'm gonna fight through my bad mood, and we're gonna record this podcast. What are we talking about today?
We're talking about Raiga, god of the monsters.
That is correct. Yeah.
Yeah,
How you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right.
We just came back from the movie theater.
The theater.
We watched the new release, new as of like Friday. We're recording this on Monday. Weapons. I recommend. Go check it out if you are inclined to do so. Like scary movies. But no, we're here to talk about Reigo, God of the Monsters. Or the original Japanese title, Deep Sea Monster Raiga. Or in Germany, they released it as Raiga, the monster from the deep sea.
All accurate titles.
Yeah, so Raiga, God of the Monsters, again, just like we talked about the Reigo last time, it was SRS Cinema had gotten the rights to it, and they released it along with Reigo in 2019, and they retitled it Reigo, God of the Monsters to capitalize on the Godzilla King of the Monsters title. So that's where the English title came about. But a little bit of production trivia, not much. Did you know that Raiga is portrayed by suit actor Mizuho Yoshida, who played Godzilla in GMK and has portrayed various other monsters?
Wow.
And
A professional.
a professional suit actor. Raiga's name is a combination of the kanji phrases for thunder and fang. Thunder Fang. Yeah, that's about it. Box offices was released on August 15th of 2009, but I don't have any actual box office numbers. And I've got a little trailer pulled up here. You wanna hear the trailer?
When don't I want to hear a trailer?
I don't know. When do you not want to hear a trailer?
Good question.
I don't know, but you're gonna hear it right now. So see you guys in a bit. All right. We're back. I hope you enjoyed that little musical interlude.
Yeah.
Once again, SRS Cinema did not have a dialogue in its trailer, but you get the idea. Anyway, cast and crew. This was directed by Shinpei Hayashiya, written by Shinpei Hayashiya, music by Kiichiro Kitazono, effects by Shuichi Kokumai, and starring Yukijiro Hotaru, Miyu Oriyama, Mao Urata, Manami Inosawa, Hanji Yanagaya, Tokimatsu Sanyute, Makoto Inamiya, and Mizuho Yoshida. And the plot. I scrounged together a little bit of plot out of this movie to get a little bit out here, but you ready?
Sure.
When a giant dinosaur-esque kaiju attacks Tokyo, military commander Kito deploys jets to kill the beast. They are seemingly successful as the creature retreats. In the aftermath, Hajime Ito and his 3 daughters are making money by naming the creature Raiga and selling merchandise of it. Ito and his daughters have a rocky relationship, however, as the daughters are trying to keep him from dating new women after the death of their mother. Ito is also not supportive of one of his daughters pursuing her dream of becoming an idol. 2 months after the initial attack, Reigo returns again. Commander Kito sends tanks to fight the creature this time. After a hard-fought battle, the military seems to be on the verge of victory once again. Commander Kito orders a stealth bomber to drop cluster bombs on the monster to finish it off, when a second, larger Raiga appears and shoots down the military aircraft. The 2 Raigas engage in a turf battle, with the larger Raiga emerging victorious. The monster marks its territory before returning to sea. In the final moments, Ito and his friends decide to hold a festival in honor of some of their fallen friends, and Ito and his daughters decide to have fun sledding down a hill. As credits roll.
Yep.
More or less. There's a little bit of more character stuff in there, I guess, but that's basically what happens in this movie. So, just like the last film, this is, we've each seen this movie one time, I think, when I first bought it. So this is our second time returning to it.
The plot in this movie is a little less cohesive than the last one.
Yeah, so there's a definitely switch in tone and style, I think. You know, that first movie, Reigo, well, obviously it was very cheesy, very cheap.
Yeah.
But it took itself pretty seriously. And, you know, there was a strong central, well, I wouldn't say strong central character, but there was a group of characters that we spent a lot of time with, and there was a lot of dialogue between the characters and blah,
and
blah,
there
blah.
was a central setting.
There was one setting, the battleship Yamato out on the sea, and, you know, there was a story thread.
Mm-hmm.
This one, I mean, there is a story
like
thread,
a
I guess.
compilation of stories.
But it is mostly a series of, it's a series of,
just,
I wouldn't say gags, but it's, you know, just kind of like a series of loosely related events tied together, much less serious. This movie, it does what I had wanted the first one to do, which is it embraces the absurdity, I think.
Yeah.
We open up with, you know, kind of the quote unquote ominous scene where Raiga is at the bottom of the sea and it's attacked by the bonefish from that last movie. And then a giant bonefish attacks it, but it kills the bonefish.
It kills the alpha bonefish.
The alpha bonefish. And
it becomes like the leader of the bonefish.
And I guess, it becomes the leader of the bonefish or something. Bonefish, like in all these movies, I guess, like are the harbingers of some giant monster coming. And after it kills the bonefish, I guess it decides it's going to go take a visit to Tokyo, as any good kaiju does.
Oh, yeah.
And we are introduced to our main human characters, I guess, if you want to call them that. There's really two human plots in this movie.
Yeah.
One follows the actor who was in the last film, Yukijiro Hotaru, who, again, is probably most known to kaiju fans for the Gamma trilogy, Heisei Gamma trilogy. He, in this film, is playing a dad. He's an older dad. He's got 3 daughters of, you know, I would say grown daughters. I don't know how young the youngest is supposed to be, but
I think they're all in high school still.
Are they all in high school still?
They're not in high school. They're all in school still.
Are they?
They're supposed to be.
Okay.
That's what they say.
Is that what they say?
Many times.
I thought the youngest one was still in school.
She said the youngest one was still in elementary.
I don't know. Did they mean that seriously, or was that like a joke?
It was serious because
Well,
she was always so So she's like childless and always had like stuffed animal bunnies.
I thought they were saying she was still in elementary, like making fun of her for being so childish, but I don't know. Maybe it's a joke. Maybe it was delivered as a serious line as a joke that,
Yeah.
Either way, it's supposed to be a joke. But,
Yeah.
yeah, he's got these.
It was like a serious joke.
He's got these 3 daughters who, I mean, does it really matter to the monster plot at all? No, but
No.
there's like a deal where I guess their mother has died, and they're trying to keep him from hitting on other women because they want him to remain.
Well, the older 2 are.
Yeah, they want him to remain faithful to his dead wife. But yeah, so that goes on, and there's some comedy with that. And then Raiga shows up in Tokyo Bay, destroys like a cargo ship or something, and then rises out of the sea and starts causing destruction. And this is when we're introduced to our second human plot, which is the government plot, which involves this very small group of government officials. I think there's 3 government officials.
And then
I don't know if that's supposed to be. I mean, obviously some of that's budget. They didn't have the budget to hire a bunch of actors for a full cabinet, but also kind of a joke that these 3 government officials are going to be dealing with this crisis. And then there's like 3 government officials, and then there's the 4th guy. I guess it's
like the secretary
of defense or something. And then he brings in 2 like military people that are obviously just like full like video game characters, like something I don't know, out of like Starship Troopers or something. They're clad in full bodysuits.
They're kind of like something you see out of Final Wars Godzilla,
or maybe something out of Final Wars or The Matrix or something. I don't know, but clad in full body armor. And one of them, I think, was in the last movie. He had an eye patch in the last movie and was very over the top. He's going to be playing he's Commander Keto, very similar character here, very boisterous, and just he's very like bloodthirsty. He wants to use all the biggest weapons and missiles and everything to try to kill this thing, where the government people are like, well, we got to, think about human casualties and stuff.
And then he was like, but you're trying to protect the humans by sending missiles.
So in this first fight, he's going to send in jets. And the joke is that, because the government, the prime minister or whatever is like very, I don't know if he's the prime minister, but, and he's even dressed funny too. He's dressed like a Matrix character when you first meet him. He's got like the black suit and the white gloves and the sunglasses and the cane. Or he's like a Yakuza boss or something. I don't know. But anyway, but the joke is that he's like, modern day missiles are very accurate, very little damage. And of course they send the jets out there and the missiles blow up half the city trying to hit this monster. But they do. It was hard to tell what really happened. I couldn't tell if the monster like died and fell right there, but I guess it just kind of went back into the sea or something. And then we're gonna take another break from the monster, and now we're gonna go back to the Ito family, and like he's kind of a sleazy guy. He's they don't have a vendor's license, but they're on the street corner selling. They've named the monster Raiga, and they're selling merchandise like T-shirts with the monster on it and stuff. And he makes like $2,000, and then his daughters demand like $100 each to go and do whatever they want to do. And then there's like a scene at a restaurant where he's got these 2 other friends of his that follow him around, and they go out.
I don't know. They're like part of some kind of council.
Yeah, they're one of the early scenes. Yeah, they're like. And it's a joke because there's a woman there practicing her
music.
I forget what you call it, but her little stringed instrument, and they're doing their classic singing, and she's trying to practice and sing over there. But she's serving them tea at the same time, and they're planning some kind of festival. And that will kind of come back later at the end, but
he's like, "Oh, I always had to do the books, and it's so hard to balance them." And
I don't know. I had a hard time following all the side characters. I think 2 of the people at this, maybe the woman and one of the guys here, are ones that get attacked by the bonefish later.
Yeah,
that they're gonna hold a festival in their honor at the end or something. But then there's a scene at a restaurant where one of his daughters, again. Important to the plot? Not at all. There's not much of a plot to this movie, but one of his daughter, I think his middle daughter, wants to be an idol, like a singer idol, and he like laughs it off, and she gets all offended, and you know,
He was like, "You serious?"
yeah, you serious? And I think this is the scene where like the couple leaves
And
the restaurant and they get killed. But there's like a running joke where people like get like there was a scientist guy early in the movie where he had a bonefish that he thought was dead and it woke up and killed him, and then here where the bonefish like jumps out of the water and kills this couple. And there's a couple other scenes.
They're not a couple. It was that scene where they left and dad tried to say, "I would walk you home if you need it," and the other guy's like, "No, I'll do it."
Oh yeah. And anyway, so they get killed by the bonefish, and then that stuff goes on for a little bit, and then the monster comes back, and Reiga is destroying the city, and then Commander Keto comes back, and he deploys tanks this time, and
tanks and
they
more jets,
and the monsters dodging their tank attacks,
and then they had that like super tank thing go out.
Yeah, but after a while, the military is finally, I think they get some hits in on him, and after the monster like does its power up red electricity, at the like Dragon Ball Z attack and just destroys some of the tanks and stuff, and then but he calls in a stealth bomb. They want to use cluster bombs. He's like, aren't those illegal? And of course, cluster bombs are, they were in the news here not too long ago for, I think, the Russians using them on the Ukrainians, or maybe the U.S. was giving them to the Ukrainians to use on Russia. I don't remember which way it was, but it was a big ordeal in the news here a while back. And, they're obviously, they're frowned. I think they're outlawed by the Geneva Convention or something because they cause a lot of widespread damage. But he's like, we got to use the cluster bombs. And he calls in a stealth bomber, I guess an American stealth bomber. And storming outside if you hear some thunder, but they start dropping the cluster bombs, but then yellow lightning comes around and starts taking out the bombs and the airplanes and all of that, and there's a bigger Raiga. And they're like, oh, is he gonna help the injured one? Is it like a male female thing? But like, no, they're gonna have a turf war. They're going to have they're territorial, I guess, and he's in his territory. And they have like a little electricity beam off.
Red against yellow.
Yeah, and I guess the bigger one wins. Then he, pees like a dog to mark his territory. And then
it turns in like a rainbow.
yeah, it's the whole joke with like the rainbow and everything. And then he walks back off into the sea. And there was a whole thing while all this battle was going on where Ito like went to a cemetery or something to go meet up with his much younger girlfriend. He sent his daughters off to a hotel. Why would you would go to a high-rise hotel in the middle of a kaiju battle? I don't think that's smart. But he goes to like meet this younger girlfriend that we saw like earlier.
Excuse, he's going to protect the shrine.
Yeah. And then like for no reason that I can figure out, this like trio of girls shows up.
It was the friends of the girl, his daughters.
Yeah, and I thought they might have been like an idol trio for a little bit, but I guess they're not. I don't know. And they basically like lecture him on not being with his daughter, and instead, coming to meet this much younger woman. And he feels bad, and he goes back to his daughters and just leaves the woman there, like whatever. But and then he's reunited with his daughters, and they see the whole battle go down, and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And then we get the final scene where him and his buddies are standing on this hilltop and talking about planning this festival for their fallen friends. And then him and his daughters decide to sled down this hill.
Yeah.
And their relationship is repaired if it was ever damaged, I guess. And then at the end of the credits, there's this really bonkers scene where the girls grow giant and like sort of battle the Raiga or something. And
and they combine their strengths into like a beam.
Yeah, it's a weird movie.
It's a weird movie.
Like I said, not really plot driven. It's just a series of bits. And like I said, I appreciate the movie on that it embrace the absurd, which is what I really thought the last one should have done. Like, if you're gonna make it cheap, obviously that's a budgetary constraints embraced the absurdity.
Yeah.
And he went full bore with that on this movie. And, I think it's better. I also think they played more into classic kaiju tropes. We have a more Godzilla-esque monster here. And we'll talk about the score and creature design and all that. And just like the style of the city destruction and all that, I think is much more in line with kind of what you would think about your classic, 60s, 70s era kaiju movie. And I think this movie plays into that more, which I really appreciate. And listen, I mean, there's still a lot of Asylum or worse level effects going around.
Mm-hmm.
There's still a lot of really cringy acting and scenes.
Yeah.
Some of it's funny, some of it's just hard to watch. And I still think there's some pacing issues. Like, it's very much like monster shows up, monster leaves, we do some goofy stunts. Monster shows up, monster leaves, we do some more goofy stunts, and the movie's over. It's 80 minutes, a nice tight 80 minutes. I think that's they even have some classic runtime filler where we have like a 2-minute recap of a battle from the last movie to get this baby to 80 minutes. I don't know why they were that worried about getting to feature length but anyway, I guess he was. But so yeah, we get to 80 minutes and I think that's the perfect runtime for this kind of, glorified fan film kind of thing. And yeah, I mean, I had a fun time. There's nothing to hate about this movie.
No.
There's nothing to love about this movie unless you really love this kind of thing. But I thought, for what it was, once again, Shinpei Hayashiya, I think he learned from the kind of struggles of the last movie. And, within the budget constraints that he had to operate within, I thought he made a pretty fun little 80-minute mostly self-made kaiju film.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Any other thoughts before we move on?
Creature design.
Like I said, Raiga, again, and one of the things I appreciate, he went with a much more Godzilla-like creature. It's got the big dorsal fins. Kind of like Godzilla. He's upright dinosaur-esque creature. He
had like these orbs in his palms that generate lightning.
It's kind of a Dragon Ball thing where, he's got orbs in his palms and he can generate lightning. Sometimes it's lightning bolts. Sometimes I think he throws like lightning balls. Sometimes he just shoots a lightning beam out of his mouth, kind of Godzilla-like. Even has like a Godzilla sound effect to it, him and the bigger one. Yeah, I mean, I like Raiga. I think it's actually a pretty cool suit. One thing, getting into effects, I really appreciate about this movie is whereas the last movie, Reigo was, there was a practical puppet they had, even though they filmed it at a weird, shutter rate or whatever. Yeah. But there was also a lot of CGI. This movie, I mean, the military craft are CGI, poor CGI, but Raiga is mostly practical. And I think this suit's really cool. And listen, I mean, the CGI is bad. Obviously, there's a lot of bad compositing shots. One thing I do like about this movie is that they took it off the sea where they had to CGI the whole battleships and all that and put it in the streets of Tokyo. So when the monster's not around, I mean, you could tell they only had 3 or 4 locations they filmed at because they didn't have the budget for any more filming permits than that.
Yeah.
But they actually had, we're filming on actual Tokyo street. I assume it was in Tokyo, on actual Tokyo streets. So that added a layer of realism that was missing from that last movie where so much of the environment was just PS1 level CGI. So I really like that. There is a lot of bad compositing when the monster is like trampling through Tokyo where they took, I guess, like real cityscape shots and just kind of composited Reiga on top of them. But again, for the budget, whatever, it's fine. The CGI is always bad. The planes look really bad. The tanks look really bad. The missiles and all that look bad. The stealth bomber, the cluster bombs.
Most things look pretty bad.
But the lightning effects were fine. And like I said, I thought the suits...
The suits were actually pretty good.
I don't know if they made 2 suits. I think it's probably just 1 suit.
I don't know. They had both of them on screen at the same time.
Well, they had them on 2 different sides of the screen. I think it might have been some kind of weird split screen effect. But I don't know. I don't know that for a fact. But either way, Reiga looked good. And, effects again. For what it was, I thought, again, filming on real locations for a lot of it and all that kind of stuff, and having an actual practical suit that they used for most of the Reiga scenes helped. And then score, I like the score on this movie. I think they try to harken back to some of those like classic Ifukube 60s era kaiju themes, as best they could. And it doesn't really stand out like a lot of those Ifukube marches, obviously, but I think it's a nice little like callback to that kind of music, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But yeah. Any other thoughts?
Good. It was all good.
All good. All right. Well, why don't you go into some final thoughts?
Final thoughts.
Final thoughts.
Well, it's like we've said this whole time, this movie is good for what it's made off of. It's a cheap movie, and they play to that strength. They have the goofy acting. They don't try to act too serious. They don't try to make anything. They play into that like goofy, cheap B movie, monster movie thing that they should have done with the first one. And I think it works pretty well. Even with the spread cast of weird storylines going on where it's not like really cohesive with anything, but I like it. The characters did what they were supposed to. I enjoyed the dad and $3 plot. I thought it was a decent add-on with the government plot that was going on in the background.
Yeah.
With them trying to defeat Raiga.
Yeah.
And failing as usual.
Yeah.
And then when I like the final battle when the two Raigas faced off against each other.
Yeah.
In the acts of territorialness.
Yeah.
I think all the effects for what with the budget they were working with look okay. I think it's upgraded to PS2 level effects.
I think there was just less CGI. I don't know if it was any better, but yeah.
Because they could upgrade it because they didn't use it as much.
Yeah.
And score, it was good. I liked the score. It was loud when it needed to be loud, and a lot of action packed. It was like an action packed score, more like not like that sad score they had for the last one.
Yeah.
And I think I'll give this movie. I'll give it a C.
Yeah, listen, I think he improved on that previous entry in a lot of ways. It was a lot more, when you're making something like this, you need to really embrace the craziness of it, and he does. It's absolutely absurd. The whole plot with the Ito family and stuff. I mean, it's goofy. It's very goofy. There's no real characters to latch on to in this movie. The Ito family is just kind of a goofy side bit. The military things are just a kind of a goofy side bit.
This movie is just a goofy side bit.
Yeah, it's a goofy side bit of a movie. But I like Raiga. I like the design. I like the suit. I like the fact that they had more practical effects in this movie. Like I said, I like the fact that it's goofier. He really embraces the comedy and all of that. I mean, it's not a great movie. I mean, it's obviously there's still a lot of bad effects, a lot of really cringy scenes. Some of the comedy lands, some of it doesn't. There's still some pacing issues. There's some runtime filler to get to 80 minutes, no doubt. But all that being said, I think for an 80-minute little, again, essentially, and I don't mean this as a slight, a fan-made film, this is a good little 80 minutes.
Yeah.
If you're really into kaiju movies, I think it's worth checking out. I'm not going to give it a great score because it's not a great movie, but C-. I think that's fair.
What did you give the last one?
I think I gave the last one like a D+.
Ooh, it's a little bit above.
It's a next step up. Maybe the next one will get a C. We'll have to watch it and figure out. But anyway, so let's get to some news, some reviews. News, I really don't have much. I mean, obviously this is old news, but Since we have been talking about Jaws recently, I wanted to remind people that Jaws will have its 50th anniversary theatrical re-release on August 29th. It will run in theaters through September 4th, which is Labor Day, I believe, or around there. Yeah, so I would obviously encourage you to check that out in theaters. I saw Jaws not on a traditional screen, but on a drive-in theater here a few years ago during COVID, I think, when they were just playing old movies to play something. But and that was really neat. Jaws on a drive-in was obviously like a really fun experience.
Imagine watching Jaws in the sea.
In the sea.
Yeah, where they did that sometimes.
Like on a cruise ship, yeah, they would play it or something.
No, they were on the. There were people on the lake, and they were.
Oh, like on sailboats, and they had it projected on a screen or something. Yeah, that would
people
be
just sitting in intertubes on the lake watching.
Watching it, yeah, just floating on a noodle, watching in
the dark. Just like you're like.
I'd be like, it hits a little bit different, doesn't it? But no, yeah, I think anyway, Jaws, yeah, so it'll run through Labor Day, and yeah, I think it's a good experience, you know, a good time to experience Jaws in theaters. And we're not going to review Jaws this year, but,
unfortunately.
Next year we probably will get to Jaws because we gotta dig up some content. But so anyway, check out Jaws in theaters. Continuing my comic review series, this week was Godzilla versus the X-Men. So I read it. It was interesting. I liked it. It was basically the plot, again, spoilers if you don't want it spoiled, but the plot was that Trask Industries was building something secret that was upsetting Godzilla, and Godzilla was destroying their plants and stuff. So the X-Men go to confront Godzilla, and they basically commandeer like this sentinel thing that can, share all their powers and grow giant and stuff. And they go to battle Godzilla, and they fight him for a little bit, and using their sentinel technology to build a hybrid mecha kaiju thing. It's like 3 kaiju. I think it was Batra, Biolante, and Fire Rodan, all in one sentinel thing. And so the X-Men and Godzilla team up to destroy it, and they do, and then Godzilla goes back to the ocean, and then they do this weird thing where they like try to tie in like the evil president of the bad company to like they kind of rewrite the history of Godzilla Raids Again, where his Godzilla would actually come to, fight off Anguirus from the city, but the bad guy's dad had been killed in the kaiju fight, and so now he had a vendetta against Godzilla or something. I don't know, but anyway, yeah. I mean, it wasn't my favorite. I didn't love the way they had. I wish the X-Men would have just like fought Godzilla instead of like merging all their powers into this robot thing and fighting him. And then they have to do the team up thing. And I think they've done. I think they're doing a different series. Godzilla Destroys the Marvel Universe right now, which I might have to catch up on. But at least on this series, I think it was in Toho's contract with Marvel that Godzilla can't lose a fight. But Marvel, I don't think wanted their characters losing the fight either. So their solution in all these comics is to have
them team up.
They might do a little fight at first, but then in the end, Godzilla and the heroes team up to defeat some other bigger villain. So, I wish it was more of just Godzilla just duking it out with the classic Marvel heroes, but it's still, the artwork is cool, incorporating the Marvel lore in with the Godzilla lore is always fun, seeing how they do that. So yeah, I mean, it was still a fun comic book. I would still recommend you check it out. And other than that, I think that's about it. I got my Ultraman Decker copy in today. So we'll be prepared to watch that movie. Podcast plans are a little up in the air for next week. We were planning, I think next week is, correct me if I'm wrong, Andrew, I think it's Ultraman's Trigger episode Z.
I'm pretty sure.
Pretty sure is our movie on the schedule for next week. Well, I was planning on recording that podcast Saturday, but I have agreed to go on a family vacation next week, and we've moved our departure date up to Saturday. So, and Andrew works evenings during the week, and I work days during the week. So,
Doesn't really coincide.
yeah. So weekends are really the only time we have to watch a movie, record a podcast. So, we may skip next week. I've got 4 open dates on the schedule right now. So, I mean, I hate to skip another week because we skipped a week already for G Fest and all that. But,
Happens.
we may skip next weekend. May take a little, next week, may take a little time off from the podcast to go enjoy the beach.
A little siesta.
A little siesta. That's a nap. I will be napping on the beach, but you know, every time, little family rant. Every time we do one of these family vacations, I'm like, this is miserable. I'm an adult. I don't have to do this, and I swear off ever doing one again. And then the next year rolls around, and mommy and daddy invite me on a trip. And I always end up agreeing to go because I don't know. I guess a bad vacation is better than no vacation. So I'm going to regret this. I already regret it. But you know what? I guess spending time with the family doesn't kill me.
It won't kill you.
I don't know. It might. Grandma's going too.
Grandma and the dog.
Grandma and the dog and mom's dog. Oh, God. I'm going to drive myself, though. I'm sure one of them will ride with me.
Everybody and their dog.
And their dog. I'm sure someone will ride with me, but I am going to drive my own vehicle. So that way, when we get there, I can go and do whatever the heck I want. But anyway, that's more family drama than our listeners probably cared to listen to. But other than that, like I said, so probably going to take a break from the podcast next week. I'll push everything back a week on the schedule because we had 4 open dates. Lucky us. And when we reconvene next, it will be for Ultraman Trigger episode Z.
All right.
So, yep. Shin Godzilla comes out Wednesday or Thursday, I guess technically, but I think some people are doing Wednesday showings.
Yeah.
And it'll run through the weekend. Again, I was going to drive me and Andrew up to Tulsa to go see that Saturday, but I guess I won't be doing that. So I might not get to see Shin Godzilla in its re-release. Luckily, I was able to see it in theaters in its initial release in 2016. Yeah. But
so it's not like you haven't seen
it's not like I have never seen it in theaters. So but I would have been nice to go see it again in theaters, but I love supporting Godzilla in theaters whenever I can. But you know, whatever. I guess life is busy. That's what it's all about. My life's really not that busy. I have pretty much nothing going on outside of work and this podcast. But why are you looking at me? But anyway, I gotta get to bed and go to work in the morning. So, like I said, we're gonna be off next week. And then we'll come back the following week for Ultraman Trigger episode Z, and then we'll conclude this little trilogy of Hayashiya's movies with King Oga versus King Raiga versus God Oga or something, whatever the next one is, and then Ultraman Decker I think has a movie that we'll watch, and so on and so forth. But anyway, as always, you can contact us at StomThisWay1954@gmail.com.
And you can find our website at www.StompThisWay.wordpress.com.
That's right, and you can also find us on Facebook at Stomp This Way. But as always, I am Aaron.
I'm Andrew.
And we will see you next time.